Hey guys, welcome back to the Thisissoul Skate Shop YouTube channel. I'm Ivo and in this video I'll tell you everything there is to know about straps. So what are straps? What are buckles? We call it a strap if it's like from fabric and from Velcro, and we call it a buckle if there's like a cranking mechanism. So it's not a really clear definitional breakdown, but that's what we have to go to. The short answer if you don't want to watch the entire video, my personal preference is a skate that has a top buckle, so normal buckle on the cuff, and in the lacing area just only laces and no ankle strap or ankle buckle there. That's my personal preference. If you want to know why, check out the entire video. We are here of course in the Thisissoul Skate Shop, like always, and if you watch these videos more often, then you know already that we are here in Amsterdam, right next to the Vondelpark, where you can go and skate. We do lessons here as well, and we have all the skates that are on the market, at least all the good ones. So if you ever want to really try a pair of skates, you can always come by and try them on here, take your time and get some professional help. If you cannot make it to Amsterdam, we also have a store in Berlin. And of course, we have a web shop, Thisissoul.com, where you have all the skates, all the parts, and all the straps available. We also try to provide the best product information that we can on our web shop. And for straps specifically, I'll tell you all the little details that you can watch out for on our website that set different straps apart from each other. Every video, I like to start with a little bit of history. The history of straps is divided into 3 segments, because there are top straps, ankle straps, and then there's also toe straps. And they all have like a little bit of a different story. First, let's start with the top straps. Of course, in the beginning, a long time ago, the first skates didn't even have a buckle at the top, let alone a strap. They had laces all the way to the top. So it took a while before the first skate with the buckle came out. I think that was like 1987. And that was kind of like the standard. It was a little bit like this skate here, except for it didn't have this thing here. So it was the Roaches M12, Roaches FCO, the classical Roaches model. And that became the standard. It's kind of like my shoes right now are the Converse All-Star shoes. And these are also the classical shoes. This is the classical skate. Buckle at the top and laces over here. And that's why also I like this the most, because it's the most classical look. I think the first top straps came in the Dashi skates. If there's anything wrong with this history, please correct me, because I don't know everything of course, but I think in 2003 the Dashi aggressive skates had the first top strap. This was an era in aggressive skating where the skates were really loose, and for aggressive skating you want to have sideways flex more than with freestyle skating. So for aggressive skating of course you're going to grind like this, so you need that flexibility in your ankle a little bit. Dashi is now a brand that's no longer on the market, but Dashi kind of like evolved into the Dashi Carbon later, and then the Dashi Carbon became a part of USD and it became the USD Carbon. And now USD doesn't really sell the USD Carbon anymore, but the USD Carbon is now a part of Gods. And Gods actually just came out with a skate and it still had the top strap on it. So the Gods Franco Morales 4 skate, which is on the market now, still has a top strap. So you see that legacy is continuing. Okay, back to 2003 when Dashi came out, something else happened as well, because skating got a little bit of like more of a creative edge, and that started, I think, with Dustin Latimer. In particular, that's one of the classical pro skaters from the zeros. Some would say the 90s as well, but he made his mark in the zeros as a really creative skater, and he had a lot more like freedom of movements in his movements than other skaters who were more like by the book. And with that freedom, he also explored some freedom in his skates, and he developed the Shadow skates back then together with Salomon. Salomon quit making skates, and the Shadow molds got bought by Powerslide. So they were released as the Shadow brand still for a couple of years, and now they merged into the USD Shadow, so no longer with an X but with an S. So the Shadow is also still alive, just like the Dashi, and the Shadow skates also had a top strap. I think because of those two brands, and especially because of Dustin Lederer, a lot of other brands started doing that top strap as well, and it became a little bit of the Shadow vibe, the freedom vibe, the creative vibe. And later on, you can see like around 2010, there were still a couple of brands doing that because of those Desi and Shadow skates. And one of those brands, I think, is Rollerblade. Here you have the Rollerblade Fusion, is it? And you also had the Rollerblade Solo. This is basically the same skate as the Rollerblade blank skate of today. The cuffs have a top strap. The idea for the top strap is as well, at least that's what people then tell you. I think it's kind of like a little bit of a lie, but sometimes people have to justify why they do stuff. So back then, if somebody tried to explain to you like, hey, why do you have a top strap? They would say like, yeah, I like it that you can put it exactly in the spot where you want. So you can tighten it. So you tighten it to a certain spot, and then if it's there, you just lock it. And with a buckle, you're always stuck. You can do it like one little piece per like 3 millimeter or what is it, but you cannot do it by the millimeter or exactly what you want. I think this is a little bit of a hoax. I don't think it really matters that few millimeters. But that was at least something that people told to each other as the reason why they had a top strap. You see really that the trend of top strap is going away because the Fusion and the Solo models came with the top strap, and now the blank has a buckle. As well, the Desi skates which became the USD Carbons, most of them also just come with a buckle. I think in general buckles are better, but it's at least interesting to see where it came from and what the history is. Now you know a little bit more. There's one more skate that came out also in 2003, and that's the Remedy skate. It's also really interesting skates, also really easy to have sideways flex with, just like the Desi skates. And the Remedy skates came with a top strap and a top buckle, both. And then you could kind of like choose, so you could take off one or take off the other. Later editions had only the buckle in it and had this like strap in the box so that you can mix and match it that way. But I think the last editions of the Remedy skates also only had a buckle. So you see that trend that started in 2003 is kind of like over. Nowadays, everybody just skates with a top buckle. Now let's move on to the history of the ankle strap. And the ankle strap, as far as I know, started with this little thing. This is an aftermarket product, and it had this like, I think it's even like a metal thing in the back, and then a strap in the front. Lazy Legs was, I think, one of the first brands to do it, and then this is a Roaches version, basically a copy of the Lazy Legs. And it's funny that this classical boot was so not intended to skate with. It was designed as an ice skate, so it's really, really coincidental that this skate has this little sole plate thingy here. And this little thingy here enabled the first sole grinds. And of course, Thisissoul is called Thisissoul because of the sole of the skate. And of course, the sole in the heart. So without this little thing, it might have taken a lot longer for people to learn how to grind. And another really coincidental thing about this specific model, the model that started it all, is this little nibble in the back. I don't think it was intentional, but this little nibble in the back was used also for the crank strap, because it would lock right behind here, like that. And then you could do it, boom, and lock the crank strap right like that. Later we get all the copycats of the Roaches N12. For example, this Razor Sculpt or Roaches Impala. It has the same little nibble because it's copied from this one. And on the modern Razor Sculpt skates, this is still there. So now you know finally where this was for. This was to hold your ankle strap. So back then there was really no mount for the ankle strap, and the modern version of that, it is the only one that's on the market. It's actually not really on the market anymore because we cannot buy it, but There's this product, maybe you can still find it because it's from 2018. We have one pair left. And you can also, they solved it with this, so you could wrap it around the skate like this, boom, and strap it around. So this is the modern version of a crank strap, but all other ankle buckles have a certain mount right now. And I think the ankle buckles really, the ankle straps, of course, they really evolved in like '97. That was when the hardware evolution started of inline skating, because before in like '93, '94, all the skates were kind of the same. And in the late '90s, all the brands really started competing. So many new brands started to come on the market, and they all started to experiment. And this was really a trend back then. If you wanted to have an aggressive skate, then you had like probably one of these things on it. So you see that all the skates from that time, like this Skate 2 skate, also had like an integrated ankle strap. This is interesting because you can actually take it loose and you can take it off. For this ultra wheels, you can also take it off like that. Then fast forward, most aggressive skates nowadays don't have an ankle strap. Some cheap soft boots have it, like this one. Here you see it. Right now, if you look what's on the market, then some skates still have like an ankle strap. For example, like an FRX or a Seba E380 has an ankle strap. In general, I think that the ankle strap, on the one hand, it's nice that if your foot gets pulled to the back, but the strap itself just doesn't do that much. Like, it's really hard to really tighten the shell with a Velcro strap. And I think if you want to tighten the shell, it's best to just use the laces. And also we have a special lacing technique that I'll link in the description of this video. If you lace it in that way, then you can lace it so super tight that you don't need the ankle strap. Then there's toe straps. And toe straps you only see on slalom skates. I don't really know when they emerged, but it must be late zeros, I think. Maybe it was like Seba Highlight, maybe. But I'm not sure. If anybody knows, please drop it in the comments. The Seba Highlight was like a really iconic slalom skate, and it was copied a lot. And I think because of that, this Power Slide Hardcore Evo still right now has a toe strap. But when I say that ankle straps are not really useful, I mean, a buckle you can really crank, so that's definitely more useful. But this strap, it's so hard to pull it. Then the toe strap is really, it's useless. Because especially this one for the Hardcore Evo, if you look at this is carbon. And there's no way I can pull this carbon together here and do anything. So I can pull on this strap here what I want, but it just doesn't do anything. So if I would get the Hardcore Evo, I would definitely like take this off, and I would take a little knife and cut off this line here, so to take off the receiver. And that's exactly what Sam Croft did, because this is Sam Croft's Pro Skate, and it comes without the toe strap. It looks a lot better, I think. So good job, Sam. In general, toe straps are nice for slalom skaters because they want to have their toes as tight as possible. I also want to have my toes as tight as possible, but on these carbon boots, they just don't do anything. So I would just take them off. That was a little bit of history. Now let's do straps versus buckles and see which ones are better. Of course, it depends a little bit on the situation. If you're an aggressive skater, then maybe you want to have a little bit more sideways flex. I still don't think you want that much. So also for aggressive skating, I would advise against having a top strap. I think in general, ankle straps are pretty useless. So my advice is take those off, and toe straps are even more useless. Also, I'm really biased because I don't like the look of straps. I like the look of a buckle on the top and laces in the bottom. The downside of a buckle is that sometimes buckles break. Like this is my own skate that I use for aggressive skating. And here you see that my buckle just broke after many years of loyal service. If you don't want your buckle to break, take a metal buckle. It's also in the descriptions of our web shop if the buckle is from metal or from plastic, because sometimes you cannot really see it in the pictures. Metal buckles break a lot less soon, so they will last you longer. The downside of straps though is that they raffle and they become really ugly. If you look at this, so if you fall on that a lot, it just doesn't look nice at all anymore. And one other downside is if you're that type of skater that really uses their straps and really pulls on it, and probably this happens here, where the ring starts to go like this. So the more you pull on it, the more like this becomes weak. And then the function of the strap really kind of like goes away. It really doesn't work well anymore. So the ring receiver twists, and that's a big downside on straps. Almost all straps have this, not all though. Again, of course, there was this myth that you could tighten your strap on an exact spot, but I think in reality, it's actually way harder to tighten a strap if you really want to have your skates tight, at least. If you want it loose, then it doesn't matter that much. But if you really want to have your strap really tight, it's so much easier to do that with the buckle. Because of the leverage of the buckle, you can tighten it just harder than that you can actually pull the strap. The biggest plus side for a buckle, I think, is that it makes the skate more stiff. And if the skate is more stiff, then you are more in control. So I think that's the biggest reason to take a buckle, is because you want to be in control. Unless you're aggressive skating and you want to have more sideways flex, but with normal skating, you want your wheels to do exactly what your foot does. So if you move your foot, your wheels should move along. And if your wheels can move under your foot without you wanting it, then that's not good. And the buckle actually helps with that. All right, next topic is the mounting of the straps on the boot. And there's no real standard, at least. So we kind of like have to figure out our standard, because I'm communicating this with you and you want to learn, but if I cannot name it, then you cannot learn it. So I just called it the standard buckle mount, because there actually is a standard, there just is not a name for it. So I called it the standard buckle mount because if you look at a strap like this, then these bolts are always M4. They're always about the same length, and they always sit in about the same place. So in reality, there is a standard, and the ankle straps have 2 holes and the top straps have 3 holes. So we call it the SBM2 and the SBM3 standard. Then there's of course the width and the length of the strap. I really had to think a little bit on how to do this, because how do you communicate the length of this strap? Because now it's one length, but I can also take this length, but I can also take like this length, because it can also fit this length. But I can also strap it like this, where it's like way over the Velcro, and now it's like a lot shorter again. So there's so many like different ways to kind of like measure the length. We decided that for the website we would use the edge where the hooks go into the loops. That's how it's actually called, the hook and loops. There's this edge here. If you fold it there, then normally also this sits perfectly at the end. And then if I would have put the receiver in there, the length would be from the bolt to the bolt. So for this strap, if you look at the website, this is 20 centimeters on our website. And then you just know, like if your hole is here and the hole is there, you can pull a rope over it and measure the length of the rope, and then you know exactly what length strap to buy. Then there's of course also the width. So we measured all the straps that we have in width, because if you have a receiver that's this big, you can never put this strap in it. It doesn't fit. And the other way around, it's also not smart, because then you get this effect way sooner. So you want to have the correct width strap, and all that information is now provided on our website. We updated everything. The nice thing about straps is that if they break, you can also bring it to a tailor to sew like new lines in it and to reinforce it. So that is a smart thing to do if it breaks down. But you can also play a little bit with the mounting. So let's say, for example, this one has a perfect hole here. So you can put that on your boot, but then it's really specific only for rollerblade skates. because it has like 2 holes here and 1 hole there. And maybe you want to have the hole there. The nice thing is with this fabric, you can just drill an extra hole in it. So just take a drill. You have to make a little bit of a gap between two pieces of wood, and then you can drill in between. Always be careful, of course, with drills, but it's definitely possible to make a hole. Also, there's like machines to punch out holes, so maybe that's better. But you can play with these things. So let's say you have like this rollerblade strap and you want to put it on another brand skates. You can just recreate the holes. Also, if you want to make an SBM2 buckle into an SBM3 buckle, you can also just punch in an extra hole. The distance is 15 millimeters for the SBM3. So we call it an SBM2 if it's like a standard buckle mount. So then you know it sets in the title of the product on our website, it says SBM2, then you know for sure that it fits on your skate if it's the right length. But some straps, they come without the receivers. So then they are not really the standard buckle mount because they need a receiver to put on. This is, for example, a God strap, and it only works if you have a God skate with the God's receivers, or another skate with the same width, of course. So, but it's not like an SBM2 buckle because it's not ready to be mounted. Then the difficult thing for specifically this strap, if you want to put it on another brand skate, is that they provide only the information of the sizing for the skates where it's supposed to be at. So this one goes, for example, like size 39, 42 and 43 to 47 or something. And that's kind of like useless because you want to know the exact measurements. So also for this one, we put it in the description what the exact length is. And if we use the length, we do it in a way that we fold the Velcro exactly where it is. So there's 2 Velcro pieces here. One to wrap around the one receiver and one to wrap around the other receiver. So like this and like that. So that then it's stuck around the receivers. And if you just do it really neatly, that's the length that we put on our website. But of course, always you can, there's like a little margin. So you can definitely do it 3 centimeters longer or 3 centimeters shorter like this as well. One thing that I think is really ugly on ankle straps, if they are too long. So if you have this flap here on the side, now here's of course the nice Rhodes logo, but if it's any other strap, then you can just cut it off. If you cut off an ankle strap, then it starts to ravel like this way sooner. So you don't want to have the ravel. So just take it to a tailor and let them sew an extra line. Some ankle straps actually already have extra sews in it, so that if you cut it off, then you don't need to go to a tailor. But that's not a lot. So I think if that's true, then it's also called a cut-off strap. So they make it a little bit easier for you. But please don't skate with a flappy flap like this, okay? That was everything for mounting. Now let's look a little bit on the skates that have a strap right now on the market. And for freestyle skating or recreational all-round skating, you can see that there's only bad skates that have an ankle strap, like these soft boots. Basically, if you have a recreational skate and it has an ankle strap, be aware. You're buying a cheap skate. The more expensive skates always have an ankle buckle. Even though I'm not a fan of ankle straps and ankle buckles, just know that if you buy a skate with an ankle strap, it's probably not the right skate for you because it's probably too weak to begin with. The straps cost a little bit less than the buckles, so the manufacturer is just like cutting cost at places where you don't want it. And if you look at aggressive skating, I think for aggressive skating, the ankle straps are so useless. They don't do anything at all. And I don't really understand why they're still being used. Some use the Aeons have it, some use the Aeons don't have it. The UFR has it. Of course, the Seba CJ has it. But in general, my advice is just be better at lacing. Check out our lacing technique and then take off the strap. It's also easier to lace it. If you do that lacing technique, it's also easier to take the to take the skates off because of that lacing technique. So check out that lacing technique, it will change your life. If you want to have more life-changing advice, we make a new video every week. Of course, you're welcome to come to our store here in Amsterdam or in Berlin for some personal advice. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next video on our YouTube because we make a new one every week. So subscribe and till the next one. Bye bye.